Kristen, thank you very much for joining us today. This is very fun to have you on board.
Thanks
Um,
for having me.
yeah, we'll ask you a few questions, and we're interested in the businesses of Long Grove. Can you tell us a little bit about your business?
Okay, so my business is it's different from the village businesses because it's like on the main street of 83. So I'm not in the charming district, but I'm in the good visibility district. So I guess there's pros and cons. And it's a small animal practice, and it does surgery and small animal medicine and regular wellness visits and puppy visits and sadly end of life services.
Yeah.
And it was and I think 1967 is when Dr. Rader opened it. So I'm guessing it's probably one of the Skycrest and the Tavern are probably two of the oldest establishments.
Yeah.
In Long Grove. So we're really lucky.
How long have you been there yourself?
I in 1998 is when I first started working there with Dr. Rader, and then I purchased it in 2001.
Oh, okay. And you've done some improvements lately to it. It looks like, anyway, it looks like something's going on there.
Yeah,
is that correct?
You couldn't tell from curbside for the people who don't come in, but maybe 6 years ago, we did a major renovation, and we were deciding on tearing it down or just building out to how the hospital was. So probably from an economic standpoint, it would have been more intelligent to tear it down and start fresh. And the contractor was really advising me to do that, to just start over, like set up a trailer camp in the front and just
Really?
people out of there. And it would be way better in the future if we did that. But I just couldn't do it. Like I just couldn't pull the trigger on knocking down this little hospital that needed a lot of work at the time to make it easier space to work with.
Looking back, do you think you made the right decision?
Well, when I see that little red door in the front and and I'm really happy to come to work every day because I think it's a charming building, and I think when you walk in, it's it feels like a family room more. Yeah. I mean, I wish my family room looked like that. It's just this vaulted ceilings and a fireplace. We wanted it to be and wood floors to be like really welcoming. So when you came into Skycrest, you were like, oh, this isn't scary. And if you're at home, then your pet's not nervous, and then everything goes so much smoother. So I think I'm happy when the HVAC is misbehaving and things like that. We gutted it. I mean, we 100% gutted it. But there's an ease that comes with a new building. But we love it though. I mean, I didn't.
So pets do get nervous when they come and see you?
Oh my goodness, yes. Look at our technicians' arms when they go and hang on for dear life. So
is it the smell, or is it, do they talk to each other? Or?
Cats never leave their home, and then they're getting stuck in the carrier and pulled out of the carrier. And the dogs are they're for the most part pretty happy. But there's a lot of nervous Nellies in there. But we're finding curbside, the animals are so much less nervous without their owners. It's crazy because they're just super chill, and wow, that leash is an extension line of nerves sometimes. When they're nervous.
So they're feeling what their caretakers are feeling then.
Exactly.
Yeah. What I love about your business is it's so noticeable when I'm driving down 83, and it looks so emotionally warm. I mean, it looks like a little gingerbread house in some ways to me. And I think to myself, if we still had a dog, that would be, it would give me a good feeling. And even though you're not in the business district, it's as if you are an extension of what they're trying to do in the business district.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for noticing that, because it was a big, I do want it to feel really warm. Like I want it to be welcoming and, not big and scary.
And is it just you, or do you have other veterinarians that work for you?
Oh, Lord, no. No, I mean, it's grown from me and Dr. Rader, and then Dr. Rader was part-time. And then once we went from walk-in hours, it was all walk-in. So there'd be a line of people waiting to get in. So once we went from walk-in to regular appointments, things got a whole lot easier. But then I needed more staff. So Dr. Stephanie Locke, I hired maybe 17 years ago, and then added, probably kept on adding. So now we have seven doctors, and
really?
in that little building. Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah, but not all at the same time. There's usually 3 doctors at one time.
Do they teach you how to be a business person in veterinarian school?
No, it would have been super helpful.
Because you're running quite a business there if you've got all those employees.
Right. But I mean, the secret sauce is, everybody else behind me and who I've, who works with me. That's the key. And the office manager, Jill, has been there for longer than me. I mean, I think going on 30 years.
Oh my.
So we have a lot of people who have been there a long time. And then new minds that come in are always, we always think we know, and then we get these new, bright, young ideas, and even more doors open.
Yeah. Is Long Grove a pet-friendly population to draw from? I mean, do a lot of people in Long Grove have pets, and is that your main draw?
Definitely the community in general. I mean, it's a very, I feel like it's a really animal-driven area, and I'm always bringing my dogs places. Like in Long Grove, it's great because I can bring my Goldens or my German Shepherd out, and I feel like it's a little contagious because now I'm seeing more dogs, and I'm seeing storefronts like putting water bowls in front of their shops, which I love, and that type of thing. And it is pretty welcoming. We have the pet parade we had on a yearly basis, and that was like really well attended, and more than ever, I mean, people are getting dogs in their house.
Do you have much competition in the area in Buffalo Grove or in Arlington Heights? Or
it's funny because I'd say the competition is getting excellent staff. I mean, that's what's hard to do, because there's kind of a shortage of veterinarians and support staff in general. The two animal hospitals have closed pretty, maybe within 5 years, our closest ones. The one on, there was an animal hospital right down the street, Grove, but it's going to be reopened. I probably shouldn't be saying that. No. So that's going to be, so that one closed for a while. And then the other one on Aptekissick, there was Best Friends Animal Hospital, and that one closed as well. So I think it's easy to obtain clients, but it's not easy. You have to, work and be authentic to keep them.
That's right. Yeah. Are there more female veterinarians now than there are male veterinarians, or is it pretty 50-50?
No, when I graduated some years ago, there was always more men. And then when I graduated, our class was 50-50. And now it's definitely more women. And I think people are like, wow, you have an all women practice. It's great, but it's not by design, but I love our staff, but it's there's just so many more women that are graduating.
I have read that there's a lot of stress, especially on female veterinarians these days. Have you noticed that with the profession?
Yeah. How long is this interview? No, I'm kidding. It's really stressful because just in general, it's a hard practice because, how do you say no, to animals and the people that love them? Because every time you say yes to your clients, you're saying no to your family. So I think my family, if they were in this room, they'd be saying, yeah, that's right. So I mean, unfortunately, I think women are maybe not as good as men as making boundaries and staying on schedule and on task. And and all that. And
Yeah.
I have very leaky boundaries.
You pulled an all-nighter last night, actually, from what I understand.
Yeah, yesterday was not the, it was such a rewarding day at the end, but Dr. Locke takes in foster dogs, and we were working on a schedule at about 10 o'clock at night with the office managers, this ever-changing schedule, and Stephanie's foster dog went into labor. So at about midnight, they came in, and I called my kids to come help, and it was great. So it's super fun. Like when those things happen, it's chaotic, but that was really fun.
Mom dog doesn't take care of everything then.
No, she tried. This is like C-sections are really unusual, but this one was no choice. Those puppies were not going to be born on their own, but now they're doing great.
Do you get involved with other not just veterinarian practice, but other practices or businesses in the area? I know there's a dental practice near you. There's, of course, the grocery store and all that kind of stuff, the restaurants. Do you find yourself as a business person in Long Grove being involved in other businesses in Long Grove as well?
You know what? When people are waiting, I am always sending them to Bentley's down the street because it's going to be a long wait if there's going to be x-rays. And I have that little Long Grove brochure that I'm saying, go visit the stores. It's going to be a little bit of time. And yesterday we had somebody for surgery she drove quite a distance and she didn't want to leave. So we sent her to Long Grove. So like that I do. And then like the festivals when they were going on, and the concerts when they were going on, that was pretty publicized on our website and our Facebook. And I'm always, and certainly the ones that I go to are doing shout outs.
One of our last interviews was with the dental practice that's very close to you over at Sunset. And one of the things I asked him was, what makes you, because there's a lot of dental practices, of course, what makes you distinctive? What makes your practice special, do you think, that may or may not be involved in other practices?
Oh, sure. That's a great question. I think it's, and this sounds kind of generic, but if I hear this frequently, from people who have moved from out of town or shopped around. Our staff, we have a really, like, the heart of the practice is just there and beating at all times. We do some alternative medicine, but there's a couple of animal hospitals in the area. They're all doing excellent work. So it's hard to say what sets us apart, but I do hear it over and over again that it's the people of Skycrest and the employees that set us apart. So
once we're through that red door,
there's
something different about your place in terms of the emotional connection you make, not just with the animals, but with the humans as well.
Sure. Yes, and that's what I mean. That's what's been really hard about this year, is that I'm not like, especially with the new clients, it's all over the phone, and I'm like with their pet in my arms, and I have my earbuds in my ears, and I'm doing the exam and talking to them, and that's been really hard because it's hard to explain and write and talk about everything. So a lot of times I'll just run in the little backyard of Skycrest, and if it's a puppy that I'm trying to show them something, or we'll do a little FaceTime. But that's been really, I think that's been really probably hard on new clients, because it's they don't know us.
Was there an expense associated with COVID for your practice?
Just like it's been hard because, like, at first we broke into pods when it first happened, and we just did half staff because I didn't want half of our staff to go down. So I kept on, and whether we wanted to be open or not, we had to, so it was, obviously for business, that's good. And it's for the employees, that's good. But it was really trying because there was some fear involved, and we were trying to do the right thing. And, there wasn't, pets were still getting sick, and people were nervous. It was pretty hard in March, but we've made a lot of adjustments, and we've been curbside for, yesterday marked a year, which I cannot believe it. Like, we have not had, we have, when we do end of life services, families could come in, but other than that, it's just been us.
So by curbside, do you mean that I drop my pet off at curbside and then I don't go in?
Kind of. So there's parking spots. So we made these like signs in each spot and said, so we'll say spot number 3, and then it says text when you have arrived. And so on our phone, we could see, this is Jenny Michaud in spot number 3, and I'm here for my appointment. So then we run out and grab her little sweet dog, and then we call her right away and go through the exam with her in her car. And
okay, so she's in the car, the dog is with you, or the animal's with you, and that's what you mean by you're talking to them as you're examining.
Right. Sorry, I didn't explain.
Oh, okay. Minimizes a human contact inside the building then.
Right.
Okay.
So
I understand there's been a lot of COVID adoptions this year. A bunch of my friends have gotten dogs for the first time because they couldn't have humans with them. Have you noticed that?
Yes, we have had so many people who are like, my kids have been begging for 8 years and now we're home, so it's time, So, I mean, we have had so many new dog owners in general, and just a lot of new dogs. I mean, there have been like waiting lists of people to get dogs. So that's kind of great because that's kind of a first. And even with our foster groups, like there was, we were like looking for dogs to adopt out, which is pretty unheard of too. I had a litter of puppies here, and I think in like an hour, there was 6 pups, and in an hour I had like 50 applicants of people who wanted puppies. So I mean, it's like that part of it's been really good, but it's hard because our surgeries, everything's kind of backed up now.
You mentioned end of life services. Does that take a toll on you, or is that something that it's just part of the job and it's hard for the people, but
it's really hard. It's really, Jenny, I want to cry. No, it's really super hard. And it's because you not only know the people so well, you know the animals so well. And especially like it'll be like adults that I've seen since they were kids with their parents coming in. And so it's really hard. And a lot of times my last euthanasia, they brought a picture of their daughter who's 18 now, and the puppy, and they were like this, and the daughter was there, and it just really gets you because the daughter was 4 and it was a newborn puppy and she was so happy, and it just shows you how fast life goes by. And so it definitely takes a toll. And working in the community, I mean, I'm seeing my kids' teachers' dogs and the coaches on the baseball team, and I mean that's really hard because I know them so well, and I know like how much they're hurting, and so that's really hard.
We had a couple of questions in the chat box. Do you get patients come from far away, or is it pretty close all the time?
No, it's I'd say the majority is going to be local, like Buffalo Grove, Long Grove, Vernon Hills. The majority is local, but we have a fair share from we see a lot of Dobermans and German Shepherds that come a long way. So yeah, there's a lot, and the children who grew up here and they moved, then they still come back here. So we have that. I should figure that out. I bet 25% come, an hour away. And I hear this a lot too. I passed 7 vet hospitals on the way, so they're coming from a distance. I had somebody flying in from Florida. He'd fly into Midway with his dog, and because his dog had some ear problems, and it was, I think, the owner of the Bruins German Shepherd. And so he came in, he flew in like every 2 weeks for a good 2 months, so. Like,
are you now, and you don't have to be false modesty here. Are you famous for something? I mean, do you do something really, or do some of your practitioners do something really, really well that sort of spreads among caretakers or animal owners?
I think we do a fair share of like surgeries that other vets don't do any more if they're newer vets, just be
Hmm.
like foreign body removals and that type of thing. We really do try to accommodate most
Yeah.
things. Dr. Rader was really known for taping up dogs' ears and making them stand. So I wind up always doing this because nobody does it. It's like the dogs, people who want their dogs' ears that are supposed to be standing, like German Shepherds who have floppy ears. And so then it's like a little technique that he taught me. So that has not gone away because nobody does it. And I've tried to teach other people how to do it, but.
Tell me that again. Did you say stand up? Is that what you said?
Like if you have a German Shepherd with floppy ears and you want them to stand, they're supposed to stand and they're just.
You want the ears to stand up, you mean?
Yeah, because they want them to look like how a German Shepherd should.
Look like they're paying attention.
Exactly. I always say it like raises their IQ by a lot once their ears are standing. So that's like a little thing that I keep on. That they don't care how far they drive. They'll come to make those German Shepherd ears.
We do love our pets, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
And are you mostly cats and dogs, or do you do snakes and birds and parrots? And
you know what? I used to do a lot of the exotics when I first started, but there's people that are just better at it than me. Than snakes and stuff. So I refer them to my friend from Jeff.
And another question in the chat was about curbside. Was that your idea, or do all veterinary practices do that?
At the beginning, I think we immediately adopted it because I was like, we have got to stay open. And I was worried about the employees too, because I mean, a lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck and they love their work and they need to work. So I was worried about that. So we kind of quickly devised a plan and made that work. And it really did work well. And I'll be honest, we've had times when when we've had to close, if I was worried about things. Because of how we actually could stay open, but it would be like, I just have a whole group of, we're in these little groups of people. So like, I actually don't sometimes even know what doctor is working because they'll be in exam room 5 and I'll be doing surgery. Like we really try not to cross paths and stay, and we have our masks on and at all times.
And like you said, it would have been better if they had taught you this in vet school, right?
I know. I think everybody's learning, but everybody was really understanding at the beginning, but I think everybody's just getting so, over this now.
We've only got a couple minutes left, but one of the questions I wondered about is village government. Are there things that the village government can do to help you or to help the other merchants? As now it seems like we're coming out of some of the worst part of the pandemic,
Sure.
But are there things that impact you government wise that?
That's a nothing really impacts me, to tell you the truth. Little things that, like our sign. I want a new sign, and because it's pretty dated, and I've been trying to get a sign, things like that. But then I just realized that I can't get one that's close to the ground that looks better, because when you turn out, I always thought it was like the village that won't let me have a new sign, but I guess it's because of the visual when you're driving, so it's not in the way. So little things like that, and setbacks were really difficult when I was remodeling and I couldn't do certain things. But for the most part, I mean, the village has been pretty great. I guess I don't know if this is the village per se, but as a community of neighbors, we always want things for our town that but gosh, they've made so many improvements. I mean, this last couple of years, and the village and the stores in general, I'm so impressed with how much effort that people have gone through, with having especially the restaurants, and not just the restaurants, everybody, but they've been like super welcoming and really trying to adjust, and it's been fun. Nice. It's been really fun, actually, longer with the restaurants outside. I mean, when everybody was too afraid to go eat, there was all the restaurants were still really working their hardest to
You can
serve
still go
us.
in their bubbles and
Absolutely. My kids were riding their bikes every
their
day,
RV.
getting ice cream, like I think every day for the last, for 3 months straight in the candy store. I mean,
Yeah.
my kids have never loved a town so much as Long Grove during this.
Well, we're so happy to have you in our town, and I'm happy that things are going well for you, and mostly for the pets that get a chance to come to you, and the people that care for them, who really, really are able to trust you and your staff of physicians and assistants. It's just great to have you in town. I'm glad you're so prominent too, because 83 is a great place, and the outside of your building is just fantastic. So whatever you do, don't change it. Do whatever you want inside, but don't change that.
Oh, you're so nice. It's really, really a privilege to be able to serve this awesome town and their wonderful animals. I'm really, really lucky.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.